Amanirenas was not just any queen. She was a Kandak, a warrior queen of the Kingdom of Kush. This powerful African kingdom was located in what is today modern Sudan. For centuries, Kush was a land of incredible wealth, famous for its vast reserves of gold, iron and ivory. Its cities were centers of trade and culture, with towering pyramids that rivaled those of its northern neighbor, Egypt. Amanirenas ruled during a very important time, in the 1st century BCE. She was known for her fierce spirit and her deep love for her people and her land, a devotion that would soon be tested by the most powerful empire the world had ever known. The title of Kandake, or Candace as the Romans called it, was not just a fancy name. It meant she was the supreme ruler, a military commander, and a spiritual leader, all rolled into one. These queens were not simply wives or mothers of kings. They held absolute power in their own right. They led armies into battle, negotiated treaties, and oversaw the construction of grand temples and palaces. Amanirenas inherited this legacy of strong female leadership. She was ready to do whatever it took to protect Kush from any threat, big or small. Little did she know that the biggest threat of all was marching south, with shiny eagles on their standards, and an insatiable hunger for conquest. The Kingdom of Kush had a long and storied history, intertwined with that of Egypt. For a time, Kushite pharaohs even ruled over Egypt as its 25th dynasty. They built a unique civilization along the banks of the Nile River, with their capital at the magnificent city of Meroe. This city was a hub of industry where furnaces burned day and night to forge iron into weapons and tools. The Kushites developed their own system of writing, known as Meroitic script, which scholars are still working to fully decipher today. This was the rich, proud, and independent kingdom that Queen Amanirenas was prepared to defend to her last breath. When Amanirenas took the throne, the world was changing rapidly. The Roman Republic was transforming into the mighty Roman Empire, swallowing up kingdoms and territories across the Mediterranean and beyond. After the famous Roman general Augustus conquered Egypt in 30 BCE, the Roman legions were suddenly neighbors with Kush. The Romans looked south and saw a land overflowing with resources, a perfect prize to add to their ever-expanding empire. For Amanirenas and the people of Kush, the arrival of Rome was not a distant rumor. It was a storm gathering right on their doorstep, threatening to wash away everything they held dear. Rome's ambition knew no bounds. After conquering Egypt, the new Roman governor, Aelius Gallus, saw the Kingdom of Kush as the next logical target. Why did Rome want Kush so badly? The answer was simple: resources and power. Kush was legendary for its gold mines, and gold was the fuel that powered the Roman war machine and economy. Furthermore, controlling the trade routes that ran through Kush would give Rome access to exotic goods from the heart of Africa, like ivory, ebony, and incense. Conquering this fabled kingdom would also be a massive propaganda victory for Emperor Augustus, proving that Roman power could reach the furthest corners of the known world. The first move was made by the Romans. While the Kushite forces were distracted by other matters, the Romans marched south in 24 BCE. They saw what they believed was an easy opportunity to expand their territory and claim the riches of Kush for their emperor. They attacked and captured the Kushite city of Syene, located on the border. For the Romans, this was just another day at the office, another piece of land to add to their map. They underestimated their new opponent, assuming the Kushite kingdom would crumble, just like so many others had. They did not understand the will of the Kushite people or the ferocity of their queen. This initial Roman aggression was a direct challenge to Amanirenas and her authority. It was an invasion of her sovereign land and an insult to her people. She could not let this stand. The Romans had misjudged the situation entirely. They believed they were dealing with a weak, disorganized kingdom on the fringes of civilization. They were about to learn that Kush was a formidable military power with a long history of defending its borders. More importantly, they were about to come face to face with a leader who was not afraid of Rome, and who would rally her entire kingdom to push back the invaders with overwhelming force. The stage was set for a monumental clash. On one side was the Roman Empire, the undisputed superpower of its time, with its disciplined legions and experienced generals. On the other side was the Kingdom of Kush, an ancient African power with a proud warrior tradition, and a queen who embodied its spirit of resistance. Amanirenas did not hesitate. She gathered her army, which included thousands of archers and warriors and even war elephants. She was not just going to defend her kingdom, she was going to take the fight directly to the Romans and make them regret ever setting foot on her land. Amanirenas did not wait for the Romans to advance further. She led her army north herself, launching a surprise counter-invasion into Roman-controlled Egypt. This was an incredibly bold move. She wasn't just defending, she was attacking the empire on its own turf. Her warriors swept through the southern Roman cities, including Siene and Elephantine, driving the Roman garrisons out. The Kushite army was a fearsome sight, a powerful force united behind their Kandake. Amanirenas herself fought on the front lines alongside her soldiers, a true warrior queen who inspired incredible loyalty and bravery in her people. Her leadership was direct, personal, and absolutely fearless. It was during one of these fierce battles that Amanirenas suffered a wound that would define her image for all time. While fighting against the Roman soldiers, she was struck in the face and lost an eye. But this terrible injury did not stop her. It did not break her spirit or send her retreating from the battlefield. Instead, it only hardened her resolve. She became known as the One-Eyed Queen, a name that struck fear into her enemies and served as a powerful symbol of her sacrifice and determination for her people. She had stared into the face of the Roman war machine and had not flinched, even when it cost her dearly. The most symbolic act of her campaign was what her army did in the city of Siena. After capturing the city, her soldiers toppled the statues of Emperor Augustus that had been erected there. They took the bronze head from one of these statues and carried it all the way back to their capital, Meroe. This was not simple looting. It was a calculated act of defiance. The head of the emperor was a symbol of his power and divinity. By taking it, Amanirenas was sending a clear message to Augustus himself. You are not a god here, and your power means nothing in the land of Kush. It was a powerful political statement. Back in Meroe, Amanirenas ordered the Meroe head to be buried beneath the steps of a temple dedicated to a Kushite victory god. This was the ultimate insult. Every person who entered the temple would be symbolically treading on the face of the Roman emperor. It was a constant daily reminder of their victory and Roman humiliation. This single act showed the world that Kush was not a nation to be trifled with. It demonstrated Amanirenas' cleverness as a leader, using not just military might but also powerful symbols to rally her people and demoralize her enemy. The story of the stolen head spread, cementing her reputation as a formidable foe. The Romans, of course, were furious. Emperor Augustus could not let this insult go unanswered. He sent a new general, Gaius Petronius, with a massive army of over 10,000 men to crush the Kushite rebellion once and for all. Petronius marched deep into Kushite territory, recapturing the cities Amanirenas had taken and pushing further south than any Roman had before. He even sacked the city of Napata, an important religious center for the Kushites. The war raged on, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The Romans had superior weaponry and discipline, but the Kushites had knowledge of the land, incredible resilience, and a queen who refused to surrender. Despite the Roman advance, Amanirenas and her army continued to fight back with fierce guerrilla tactics. They used the harsh desert environment to their advantage, launching hit-and-run attacks that wore down the Roman legions. Amanirenas realized that a prolonged war would eventually destroy her kingdom, even if they were never fully conquered. She decided to try a different strategy diplomacy. Instead of waiting for the Romans to offer terms, she sent her own envoys to meet with Emperor Augustus directly. This was another incredibly bold move, as it treated Kush as an equal to Rome, not a defeated subject. The peace talks were a stunning success for Amanirenas. Her ambassadors negotiated a treaty that was incredibly favorable to the Kingdom of Kush. The Romans agreed to withdraw completely from all Kushite territory, pulling their border back to its original position. More importantly, Emperor Augustus agreed that Kush would not have to pay any tribute to Rome. This was almost unheard of. Nearly every kingdom that fought Rome and lost was forced to pay heavy taxes. By securing this concession, Amanirenas ensured her kingdom's economic independence and sovereignty. She had fought the world's greatest superpower to a standstill and emerged with her kingdom intact and free. Queen Amanirenas' legacy is one of incredible courage and brilliant leadership. She is remembered as the one-eyed Kandake who faced down the Roman Empire and won. In an age when many kings and kingdoms crumbled before Rome, she protected her people and preserved their way of life. The Meroitic head, which was rediscovered by archaeologists in 1910, now sits in the British Museum as a permanent testament to her victory. Amanirenas stands as a powerful symbol of African resistance against foreign invasion, a warrior queen whose story continues to inspire people across Africa and the world, proving that true strength lies not in the size of an empire, but in the will to defend one's home.